Um, were finances ever a major problem in your married life?
Major. Well, at least once a month there was a big explosion. Yes. No, we really began to manage quite comfortably, especially on 2 paychecks, which was becoming very fashionable.
How many children are in your family?
4.
Okay, and who are they?
4 complete individuals. James Peter Jr., Kathleen Elizabeth, Maria Jane, and Daniel Martin.
Okay, now when were each one of them born? I'd like to get into when they were born, and were there any special events that that you can recall of each birth? I mean, mad rushes to the hospital, or things of that nature.
Let's see. Pete was born in February of 1943 in Ashtabula Hospital because I went home to mother, of course, for confinement. But Kathy was born in March of 44. That was a pretty fast trip to the hospital. Then Maria was born in August of 1947, and also in the Ashtabula Hospital. Dan was born in January of 49 in Painesville Hospital. No great trauma, just, hey, there's another kid.
And what is the current status of each of your children? Where are they? Are they married? Where do they live? What do they do for occupation? Grandchildren?
See if I can get this right. Pete is married to Mary Israel, has 2 sons, Hugh and Fawn. He's an architect and received his master's degree this year in architecture. Kathy is married to Warren Williams, 2 children, Meredith and Jim. She also received her master's degree in divinity this summer, but basically she taught school previous to that. Maria is married to Don Ames, and they're in Florida, Inverness, Florida. 2 children, Stephen and Laura. She has a son by a previous marriage, Ron Ames, who was adopted by Don. He's in Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale Lakes, I believe. And Dan married Peg Coolidge. They lived in Gaithersburg, Maryland. 2 children, Patrick and Brian.
So how many grandchildren does that total?
9.
Did you and Jim have any special hobbies or interests?
Dancing, TV, records. The usual social affairs, through work mostly.
Is Jim into any hunting or fishing, any outdoor activities?
We did a few fishing trips, but were never successful. Did not get the fish, though. You lose interest. But no, his hobby was golf. He was very good at it.
Are you a registered voter?
Absolutely.
Would you like to declare what your
Not
party is?
your life. I am an independent voter. I vote for man. And or woman, as the case may be.
Liberal.
An open mind. I'll vote for a personality above any organized party.
Do you speak a foreign language?
No, I understand several appropriate words. I could not converse in a foreign language, no.
Did Uncle Jim?
Samoan. which he used a great deal when he was angry. Is Navy also a language? He used that. Like hit the deck. Knock it off.
Have you ever flown in an airplane?
Many times.
Oh, yeah?
Love it.
Yeah. Where are some of the trips you took? Can you recall?
My first flight was to California. And I've had the bug ever since. Flown to Tucson. I've flown to Hawaii. I've flown to Nassau. To Mississippi. To Gaithersburg, Maryland. I guess that's about it. Several trips to Tucson.
Have you ever read the Bible through completely?
Yes, but not for enjoyment. It was an assignment through the Presbyterian Sunday School. I'm very fond, of course, of certain passages.
What would you say your general health is like?
Fantastic. Consider the way I abuse it.
No high blood pressure?
No. About 5 years ago, I almost killed myself with stupidity, but no lasting ill effects. Even though the doctor did say there would be brain damage.
It's can't recognize it yet, though.
I managed.
Is there anything that stands out in your mind with your married life? Any special events that would have happened?
Special events. No. You look back at it, it's all pretty good. At the time, it gets a little hairy, but no, I think we managed quite calmly.
Do you have any favorite books, TV programs, or
my reading is mostly biography, historical. I'm a nature nut. I'm big on the ecology. TV programs, anything except the horror stories and the new stuff. I love old movies. They know that. I love old movies.
do you have any favorite pro sports teams that you like to follow?
No, I'm mad at all of them.
You're not a Browns fan or Cavs fan?
Oh, I support the Ohio teams, not necessarily the Browns or the Cincinnati's or the I support the home team.
Did you ever win anything?
I do not play the lottery, but the one time I did play, I won $40.
You stopped?
Yes, I did that. I split a ticket under duress. No, I do not play the lottery. We used to have office pools, picking football pools, of course. And my way of picking the football team was the town that I wanted to visit. So I won $160 in that pool one time. That's the biggie.
At this point in your life, do you have any special goals?
You gotta finish all my damn projects. I have more projects than I have time to devote.
Well, the main thing right now, you're working on the family trees.
Absolutely. I've got to get some of this old information down on paper.
Now, what side of the family are you tracking now?
At the moment, it's the Chapins, who started in Massachusetts. He was one of the founders of Springfield, Massachusetts. But I'm interested in all of them, and I'll probably digging at all of them.
Okay, the last thing we have here, is there any advice you would like to give to any of your family members, future generations?
Oh, yes. Stay cool. Don't sweat the small stuff. I have a great deal of faith in their intelligence. And,
Alrighty.
I do have certain likes and dislikes, of course. I'm a bit opinionated. But, well, my logo is rainbows. I look for the good stuff. Try to keep cool, calm, collected.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to any of this stuff that we might not have covered that you want to get into?
No, not off the top of my head. There's one little parting message. I try to live, but the Serenity Prayer, but I do have a poem that I like. There is no cure for living, except of course the dying. But the sick.
You know, who are these people?
This is my grandmother and grandfather Chapin. Harriet Amelia Reeve. About the year of 1920. This is the way they looked to my earliest memory. This was taken in front of the house. This is Isaac Newton Chapin, about the same year, taken in the doorway of the milk house on the farm with his constant cigar. This is Hugh Benjamin Laughlin on the 1911 football team from Jefferson High School.
He's the one that went 5 years to...
5 years to play football with a bad heart.
Do you have any idea what position he played?
Heavens no. Probably wherever they wanted it. He was almost 6 foot tall and built husky. This is my mother's graduation picture from 1911. Louise Reeve Chapin.
She would have been, what, about 18 there, you think?
Yes. She went right from high school to teach in a one-room school. This is my father, Hugh, again, probably in 1916, at the time they were engaged to be married.
And he died at, what, 34?
He died at the age of 34 in 1926. This picture is from my early childhood years, the elderly group that we knew so intimately. Standing is Uncle Asher. Seated is Uncle Arthur, Uncle Olin, Aunt Mimi, Aunt Mary, my grandmother, myself, my Aunt Rose, my grandfather Chapin, Mrs. Howard, my father, my mother, my older brother, and my baby brother.
And so that's you and
This is Shirley and her grandmother Chapin.
And how old was Shirley there, would you guess?
Shirley would be 2 years old there. I'm built like my grandmother Chapin, and I always wanted her beautiful white hair. This is the family at my teenage years. My younger brother Allison, my grandfather Chapin, who was living with us, my mother, my brother Oliver, and myself at 14. This is our wedding picture from the evening of November 6th, 1941.
What church was this
at Trinity Episcopal Church in Jefferson, Ohio.
How old was everybody in that picture, would you guess?
That's 30 of you. I was 19, Jim was 20. This is the whole wedding party from left to right. My brother Oliver, his new wife Gretna, my matron of honor, Bill Shannon and usher, Shirley, Jim, John Shannon, the best man, Dorothy Miller, bridesmaid, and Allison Laughlin, an usher. This picture of Jim was taken probably 2 years before he died. There's an executive portrait for Faxon, Avery Division of Faxon in Painesville.
We had a few technical problems yesterday with one part of the tape where Shirley was giving that poem and we cut it off, so we're going to pick up on it today. It's your leisure. Go ahead.
There is no cure for living, except, of course, the dying. But the sickest people on this earth are those not even tried.
We'll say amen to that one, too. Okay. Who do we have here?
Alvin, Nathan, and Julia Ann Chapin.
And what's their connection?
Their son, Newton Chapin, my grandmother, and my mother.
Okay.
This is another picture of Newt Chapin and his wife. That's their wedding picture.
Are these your grandparents?
These are my mother's parents.
Okay.
This is my father at the age of 12, his mother, and his aunt, his grandfather, his father, his sister, and his mother.
Okay.
It's my father's parents. This is my mother's grandfather and grandmother, Leander C. Reed and Harriet Amelia Reed.
Okay.
Oliver Laughlin, who is my father's grandfather. My father, my mother, their engagement pictures. This is my aunt, my great-grandparents, my mother, 2 great aunts, and a second cousin, Ohio. This is Jim and Shirley's graduation pictures. Jim's grandmother Nevison, Jim, grandfather Nevison, his father Martin, his mother Nettie, another picture of Martin, and 2 pictures of his mother Nettie.